A private meeting that was supposed to heal old wounds may have done the exact opposite. For weeks, the world waited for any hint that the deep freeze between Prince Harry and his father was finally beginning to thaw. And then, without warning, it happened. A sit-down on British soil so tightly guarded that even some senior palace aides were kept completely in the dark. But here's what nobody saw coming. What happened after Harry returned to California may have rewritten the rules of this entire family drama. According to a new report, Meghan Markle delivered a message that surprised even people close to the couple. It wasn't about reconciliation. It was about something entirely different. Something that could permanently alter the trajectory of the Sussex brand. And the timing couldn't be more fascinating. I've been following this story from the very beginning, and I have to tell you, this new twist feels like one of those moments where the public narrative and the private reality suddenly snap into very different focus. So let's unpack exactly what went down, because the details matter. First, the meeting itself. Multiple sources confirm that Harry and Meghan visited King Charles at his Highgrove residence in Gloucestershire. Not Buckingham Palace, not Windsor. Highgrove, the king's private countryside retreat, a place that holds deeply personal meaning for him. The fact that the meeting happened there, away from the cameras and the formal protocols of London, signals something. This was meant to be quiet, intimate, and extremely controlled. And by all accounts, the Sussexes followed every rule. Meghan reportedly kept entirely out of sight. No public appearances, no leaks, no dramatic statements. She understood how much the visit meant to Harry, and she played by the royal playbook in a way that many critics didn't expect. But here is where the story takes a turn. Because once that plane touched down back in California, according to a source who spoke to Closer magazine, the tone shifted dramatically. The source claims that Meghan essentially told Harry, "Look, I did my part. I went to England, I stayed invisible, I respected every boundary. Now it's time to forget about the royals and put all that energy back into the life we're building here in America." And when you read between the lines, that message isn't just about emotional boundaries, it's a strategic pivot, and that's what makes this so intriguing. Now, before you dismiss this as just another anonymous tabloid whisper, consider the context. What else is happening in Meghan's world right now? She just received a Daytime Emmy nomination for her Netflix series with Love Meghan. That nod arrived at a moment when many industry observers were writing her Hollywood comeback story off completely. Her podcast deal with Spotify ended. The headlines about the couple's financial standing haven't exactly been glowing. Several outlets have reported that the Sussexes aren't as financially comfortable as their lifestyle suggests, and that their overall brand value has taken a hit. So this Emmy nomination isn't just a trophy on a shelf, it's a lifeline. It's a signal to the industry that she still belongs in the room, and she knows it. According to The Insider, Meghan sees this as her moment. The source says she's got a lot going on over the next few months, and she wants her husband to stop making everything about his battles with the royals and let her needs take precedence for a little while. That phrasing, "let her needs take precedence," is incredibly revealing. It reframes the entire dynamic. For years, the public has watched Harry wrestle with his past, his family trauma, his legal fights against British tabloids, and Meghan has often stood beside him, sometimes in the spotlight, sometimes pulling back. But this sounds like a deliberate course correction. She's saying, "I supported your mission, now it's time to support mine." But here's the part that really makes you lean in. The Daytime Emmy ceremony is set for September 14 in Los Angeles, and reports indicate Meghan is hoping to make an appearance with Harry by her side. Not a virtual appearance, not a pre-recorded message, a red carpet walk, together on American soil, celebrating her creative work. That image, if it happens, would be loaded with meaning. It would mark a symbolic shift from the couple being defined by their royal exit to being defined by their own independent achievements. And let's be honest, a successful Emmy night could do more for the Sussex brand than a dozen carefully worded statements about family unity ever could. So the big unanswered question is this: will Harry actually step back from the royal narrative and fully commit to this new chapter? Because there's a very real tension here. Harry has spent a significant part of his post-royal life building an identity around accountability and transparency. His memoir, his interviews, his legal crusades. That has become part of his public persona. If he suddenly goes quiet on that front to boost Meghan's rebrand, how does that sit with his core supporters? And more importantly, how does that sit with him? The source insists Meghan feels it's more than fair. She uprooted her life, endured relentless scrutiny, and played by the rules during a delicate royal visit. Now she's asking for reciprocity. That sounds reasonable on paper, but we both know that within this particular family, nothing ever follows a simple script. There's another layer worth considering. The royal family itself has maintained an almost total silence on the Highgrove meeting. No official photos were released, no joint statement was issued. That silence, intentional or not, feeds the narrative that the relationship remains incredibly fragile. If Charles and Harry truly made progress behind those closed doors, wouldn't there be at least a subtle public hint, a carefully worded line in a palace briefing? Instead, we're left with an information vacuum, and nature abhors a vacuum. Into that empty space flows speculation, and right now, the loudest signal is coming from Meghan's camp, which seems focused squarely on the future, not on healing the past. At this point, I want to be very clear about sourcing. Everything we've discussed about Meghan's message comes from a single report in Closer, attributed to an unnamed insider. No member of the Sussex team has confirmed or denied these claims publicly, so we are absolutely in the realm of alleged conversations and behind-the-scenes sentiment. That said, the pattern here aligns with observable facts. The Emmy nomination is real, the relative quiet from Harry on royal matters in recent weeks is noticeable, and the couple's business ventures clearly need a reset moment. Whether the specific words were spoken or not, the strategic logic is hard to ignore. Think about what we saw just a few months ago. Harry appearing in court, Harry giving interviews about his security concerns, Harry speaking out about his family's relationship with the press. That version of Harry seemed driven by a very different priority list. If the new priority list is now Meghan's brand revival, then we are witnessing a genuine inflection point. And inflection points make for the most compelling chapters in any long-running saga. So where does this leave us? We have a king who met with his son in private, a daughter-in-law who reportedly played by the rules and then drew a line in the sand, and a husband caught between the weight of his past and the demands of his present. The next few weeks will tell us a lot. The Emmy red carpet, the projects Meghan has lined up, and perhaps most tellingly, what Harry says or doesn't say in public. If the prince goes completely silent on royal matters for an extended period, that silence will speak volumes. It would be the clearest sign yet that the couple's internal calculus has truly changed. One more detail before I share my personal take. The insider also noted that Meghan feels she's done her bit to help him. That phrase suggests a kind of transactional closure. She helped him reconnect, and now that box is ticked. Whether you see that as supportive partnership or calculated maneuvering depends entirely on your perspective. And honestly, both interpretations exist for a reason. This is a couple that has never been short on strong opinions, fierce loyalty, or polarizing headlines. That's exactly why millions of people can't look away. From my vantage point, the most interesting question isn't whether Meghan said those exact words. It's what this shift represents for the broader narrative. For the first time in a long while, the story is pivoting away from victimhood and grievance and toward ambition and creative agency. That's a different energy entirely. And if it works, if the Emmy buzz translates into a genuine career resurgence, then the conversation around this couple changes. They stop being the royals who left and start being the power players who built something new on their own terms. But that's a big if. The entertainment industry is unforgiving. Audiences are skeptical, and the shadow of the royal family, whether Harry leans into it or walks away from it, will always be there. What Meghan is reportedly asking for is a clean break, at least for now, so her moment can shine. The only thing left to see is whether Harry is ready to flip the script and let her lead. Because once that happens, there's no telling what the next headline will be, except that it probably won't be about a palace feud. And maybe that's exactly the point.